Welcome! Today we will crochet the bag we see here. We will use T-shirt yarn for this bag and it will consume almost 700 grams of yarn. So let's get started. But before we begin, we'd like to remind you, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you can click the subscribe button now. And if you are already subscribed, make sure to activate notifications by clicking the bell. We'll use a T-shirt yarn and a size 9 hook. If you wanted to buy any crochet tools online from any country, you can find the links in the description below. We'll begin with the starting chain. The part we'll do now will form most of the body of the bag. The starting chain will be 34 stitches. Skip the first stitch and do a single crochet in the second one. All the first row will be single crochets. As we can see, we're doing one single crochet in each stitch. We'll continue doing one single crochet in each stitch until we get to the end of this row. Now we've completed the first row of single crochets. And we started with a chain of 34 stitches. After we complete this part of the bag, it will be more clear what each of the starting chain and the rows we'll do now will represent. So the first row we did was a row of single crochets. We did one single crochet in each chain. All of the next rows will be back loop single crochet. First chain up 1. As we can see, there are 2 loops for each stitch. We'll insert the hook into the back loop only. And we'll do one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. This is how we'll do all of the next rows. As we can see, we do one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. And another back loop single crochet in the next stitch. We go into the back loop only, not in both loops of the stitch. Continue the same way, going into the back loop of each stitch. And we do one single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. We will do 24 rows the same way. Only in the first row we did regular single crochets, doing one single crochet in each chain stitch. Starting from the second row we did back loop single crochets. As we can see, we only go into the back loop of the stitch and do one single crochet. And we'll continue the 24 rows the same way. Now we've completed our rows of back loop single crochets. We did 24 rows of back loop single crochets. So this part represents most of the body of the bag. Now we'll fold it in half. As we can see, this will be the front side of the bag and that is the back side. Then we will connect the sides. And this is where we will attach the zipper. As we can see now, we made a rectangle shape and we folded it in half. The starting chain we did at the beginning will represent the height of the bag. And when the rectangle is folded, this part will represent the width of the bag. So if we need to give the bag more height, we will increase the length of the starting chain. Because as we can see, when the starting chain is folded in half, it will form the height of the bag. And if we wanted to change the width of the bag, we can change the number of rows of this rectangle. Now we'll connect each side. We need to specify the front side because we'll connect from the back side. We'll join each two opposite stitches with a slip stitch. So we folded the rectangle in half and now we're connecting each side. Insert the hook into each two opposite stitches and connect them with a slip stitch. As we said, the front side of the bag will be on the inside and we're making the connections on the back side. Now go into the next two opposite stitches. Then pull through the loop on the hook and slip stitch. The next two stitches. Pull through both stitches and the loop on the hook and do a slip stitch. We'll connect the next two stitches the same way. Pull through both stitches and the loop on the hook. And this is how we connect the sides. We join each two opposite stitches with a slip stitch. Now we've connected this side of the bag, let's see how it looks from the front side. And this is how the side looks from the outer side. Now we'll flip it over again to connect the second side the same way. Connecting each two opposite stitches with a slip stitch. Now we've connected both sides, this is the front side of the bag and this is how it looks from the outside. If we wanted to attach an interior lining inside the bag, we should measure the lining on the rectangle before we fold it and connect its sides. So the interior lining should be the same size as the rectangle. Pay attention that back loop single crochet and t-shirt yarn itself cause your work to be a little stretchy. So we can either choose an interior lining to be of a stretchy material, or we can just increase its size a bit more than the rectangle size so it'd be comfortable inside the bag. Now we'll do the last rows of the bag, and they will be rows of slip stitches. The first row of these rows will be the foundation for the next rows. So we'll do each slip stitch to be opposite to one row. So now we go into the first stitch, yarn over and pull through the loop on the hook and do a slip stitch. The next stitch, we'll also do a slip stitch. So basically what we will do now is a couple of rounds at the top edge of the bag. We will continue slip stitching until we get to the end of this round. As we can see, we're doing each one stitch opposite to a vertical row in the bag. Yarn over and pull through the loop on the hook and do a slip stitch. We'll continue slip stitching until the end of this round. Now we've completed the first round of the rounds of the upper part. This round was basically a round of slip stitches. Now that we finished this round, it will be a foundation for the second round, which we'll do now. The second, third and fourth rounds, they will all be slip stitches. But starting from the second round, we'll work only into the back loops. These are the slip stitches of the first round. And as we see, there are 2 loops for each stitch. So we'll go into the back loop, which is the loop opposite to us. Yarn over and pull through, then slip stitch. As we can see, we go into the back loop of each stitch. And we do a slip stitch. We can make as many rounds in this part as we want until we get to the desired size for the bag. As we can see, we are working the second round into the back loops of the stitches of the first round. We'll do the third and fourth rounds the same way, slip stitching in the back loop of each stitch. We go into the loop which is at the same direction of the new loop. So this is the loop we'll go into and do a slip stitch. Notice here we can see only 1 loop of each stitch in the first round. This is the second round and we'll do 2 more rounds the same way. As we said, we can make as many rounds as we want for this part. But all of them will be rounds of slip stitches. So we'll continue the next rounds the same way. Now we've completed doing 4 rounds of slip stitches at the upper part of the bag. The first round was the foundation round and we did each stitch to be opposite to one of these rows. So at each row we did 1 slip stitch. This was the first round and as we said it was the foundation for the next rows. And for the next 3 rounds we did each slip stitch in only 1 loop of the stitches of the previous round, which is the back loop. So we go into only 1 loop of each stitch to do the new slip stitch in the new round. Now the body of the bag is complete and we'll continue the other parts of the bag. We'll start with the interior lining. As we said before, we cut the interior the same size as the rectangle that forms the bag, because we'll sew the interior just below the slip stitches rounds. So the lining was the same size as the rectangle. We also folded it and sewed its sides just like the body of bag. Then we'll put it inside the bag. This is where we'll attach it. As we said, it will be just below the first slip stitches round. This is where we'll sew it, so the slip stitches rounds will be free and we won't attach the lining to any of them. We'll also attach the zipper at the same spot. So both of the lining and the zipper will be sewed here. First we'll sew each part of the zipper in its side of the bag and then we'll sew the lining like this, as we can see. We start by sewing the zipper first, then we sew the lining. Or we can sew both of them together in one step. So we'll sew the first half of the zipper in this side and the second one in the other side. And the upper part of the lining will be sewed all around both parts of the zipper. There is one important step to be done before we attach the lining. We will use a metal clasp lock for the bag. This clasp lock consists of 2 parts. This part will be attached to a short strap to be used to close the top of the bag. As for this part, it has 2 little parts here that we'll use to attach it to the body of the bag. So we'll attach it here, in the middle. We should do this step and attach it here before we sew the lining interior. I'll bend these parts to be attached tightly. As we can see, we placed this part just below the first slip stitches row. That's why we must attach it first before we sew the zipper and the interior, because the lining interior will cover this part. Now let's see how we'll do the strap that will be attached to the second part of the lock. We'll start with 7 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the starting chain for this part and it's 7 stitches. Skip the first 2 stitches and do a single crochet in the 3rd stitch. We will do 1 single crochet in each chain stitch. And we'll do 4 single crochets in the last chain stitch. 2, 3. We did 4 stitches to create a curve, as we can see. So we started with a chain of 7 stitches. Skipped the first 2 stitches and did a single crochet in the 3rd one. We did 1 single crochet in each chain stitch. Except for the last one, we did 4 single crochets in it. Now we'll work on the other side and we'll also do 1 single crochet in each stitch. This is the last stitch and I'll leave this loop loose. I won't make it curved, I'll stop at the last single crochet and this side will be flat, as this is the side that will be attached to the bag. As for the curved part, that's made of 4 single crochets done in the last chain stitch. It will be on the front. So this is the front side. On the side opposite to where we attached the first part of the lock, we'll attach the strap using thread and a sewing needle. And we will attach the second part of the lock to the curved side of the strap. As we can see, this side is opened and there are small holes here, so we'll get the strap into this part like this. Using these holes, we can use a needle and a thread to attach it more securely. This is how we can attach this part of the lock to the strap. As we said, we'll attach the other end of the strap to the back side of the bag so the clasp can be locked easily. We can buy this clasp from any bag parts and accessories shop. Or if we have an old bag that we don't need anymore, we can just take this part of it and attach it in the new bag. So we'll attach these parts as we explained and then we'll do the handle of the bag. Now we've attached the first part of the clasp to the bag and we attach the second part to the strap. We also sewed the zipper and the interior lining. The last step now is the bag handle. We will get a piece of strand and connect its ends to form a circle. Then we'll fold it in half like this, and we will attach a chain at this end of the strap. The handle consists of 2 parts, a yarn part in the middle and a metal chain at both ends. So when we fold the circle this way, its end will look like this, as we can see. And the other end will look the same as well, so we can attach the chain to both ends. We'll start working on this piece of yarn. I'll tie it like so. We'll make a ring. Then insert the hook into this ring and do 1 chain. As we can see, here is the folded part at the end and we formed a ring here. Then we will do single crochets that goes around this part. Like this, as we can see. Yarn over and pull through, single crochet around both strands, making sure to maintain the ring at the end. So this folded piece of yarn is the foundation that we'll use to do the single crochets on it. So as we said, the reason why we turn this strand into a circle, so we can have a ring at the beginning and another one at the end. As we see, we'll continue single crocheting around both strands we have here. So as we can see, this will be a part of the bag handle. And as we said, we will attach the metal parts of the handle at both ends of this strap. So this strap will be in the middle of the handle and we'll attach a metal chain at each end. Now we'll connect the first part of the chain. We'll connect it at the first ring. I'm bending the metal to tightly close it on the strap ring. We'll connect the other end of the chain to the bag. And we'll connect the other end of the strap to the second metal chain. I'm closing it tightly. Now the bag handle is completed. We started making this handle with a strand, then we connected its ends to form a circle. Then we started single crocheting around this circle. And we left a loose ring at each end so we can connect the metal chains. Now we'll connect both ends of the chains to the bag. I'll start with this side. I'll choose which loops to connect the chain. I'll choose the stitch in the last round to connect the chain to it. I will bend the chain to close it more tightly. Now we've connected one side and we'll do the second one the same way. Secure it tightly. Now the handle is connected to the bag, and this was the last step in the bag. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and share. And if you have any question, write it in the comments. Subscribe now if you want to get all our new videos. Thank you.